In a small village nestled in a remote corner of the world, lived a young boy named Riku. From an early age, Riku had an insatiable curiosity. He was always full of questions about the world around him, often spending hours pondering the stars, the changing seasons, and the mysteries of life itself. His parents did their best to answer his inquiries, but they were simple villagers, and their knowledge was limited. Despite their efforts, a profound hunger for deeper understanding burned within Riku. One day, while wandering through the bustling marketplace of the village, Riku's attention was caught by an old man speaking to a small crowd. This man was a traveler and a storyteller, known throughout the region for his tales of distant lands and ancient wisdom. Today, he spoke of a master of unparalleled wisdom who lived on a distant mountaintop, known as Buddha. The storyteller's voice was filled with reverence as he described Buddha's enlightenment and the profound peace that surrounded him. Riku was mesmerized. The story of Buddha and his journey to enlightenment resonated deeply with him. He felt a powerful urge to find this master, believing that Buddha could provide the answers he sought. After the crowd had dispersed, Riku approached the old man with a sense of urgency. "Sir, can you tell me more about Buddha? Where can I find him?" Riku asked eagerly. The old man looked at Riku with kind, knowing eyes and said, "Buddha is a sage who has discovered the true path to peace and enlightenment. He resides on a mountain far from here, meditating under a Bodhi tree. The journey to reach him is long and fraught with challenges, but for those who seek true wisdom, it is worth every step." Riku felt a mix of excitement and determination well up inside him. He knew that he had to embark on this journey. With his parents' blessing and their well wishes, Riku set out on his long journey toward the mountain where Buddha was said to reside. He packed a small bag with some food, water, and a few belongings, and with a heart full of hope, he began his trek. The path was indeed arduous and fraught with challenges. Riku traversed dense forests where towering trees seemed to touch the sky and shadows played tricks on his eyes. He climbed steep cliffs that tested his strength and resolve, and he trekked through barren deserts where the scorching sun beat down mercilessly. Each day brought new obstacles, wild animals whose eyes glinted in the night, harsh weather that tested his endurance, and rugged terrain that seemed to stretch endlessly. Despite the hardships, Riku pressed on, driven by his strong desire to find wisdom. Each night he would camp under the vast expanse of the starry sky, contemplating the purpose of his journey. He remembered the old man's words and the stories he had heard about Buddha's teachings. He realized that wisdom was not just about learning new facts, but about understanding deeper truths. This realization gave him the strength to continue, no matter how difficult the journey became. After several weeks of grueling travel, Riku finally reached the base of the mountain. He looked up at the towering peak, feeling a mix of awe and anticipation. The climb would be the most challenging part of his journey, but he was determined to reach the top. As Riku ascended the rocky path, he encountered other travelers, pilgrims who were also seeking wisdom. They shared stories, food, and encouragement, creating a sense of camaraderie and support. This made the climb a bit easier, knowing he was not alone in his quest. Each shared tale and piece of advice added to Riku's growing understanding that the journey itself was as important as the destination. Eventually, Riku reached a serene garden near the mountain summit. The air was filled with a profound sense of peace and stillness, unlike anything he had ever experienced. There, under the shade of a large Bodhi tree, sat a figure in deep meditation. This was Buddha, the master of wisdom Riku had traveled so far to meet. With a mixture of reverence and excitement, Riku approached cautiously and bowed deeply before the wise master. Buddha opened his eyes, and his gaze fell upon the young boy. His eyes were kind and compassionate, filled with a depth of understanding that made Riku feel immediately at ease. "What do you seek, young friend?" Buddha asked, his voice gentle and filled with compassion. "I seek wisdom, master," Riku replied. "I want to understand the meaning of life and how I can live in peace and harmony." Buddha smiled warmly and gestured for Riku to sit down beside him. "Let me tell you a story," he said. Once a disciple came to Buddha, full of questions and doubts. Buddha asked the disciple to fetch a glass of water from a nearby river. When the disciple returned with the water, it was murky and filled with mud and leaves. "What do you see in the glass?" Buddha asked. "It is dirty and unclear," the disciple replied. Buddha asked the disciple to set the glass down and wait. After a while, the mud and leaves settled to the bottom, and the water was clear again. "What do you see now?" Buddha asked. "The water is clear," the disciple responded. "So it is with your mind," Buddha said. "When it is full of thoughts and worries, it becomes cloudy. But if you sit in stillness and let everything settle, your mind will become clear and you will see the truth." Riku listened attentively, absorbing every word. He realized that wisdom was not about accumulating knowledge, but about understanding his own mind and finding inner peace. The journey to enlightenment, he learned, was as much about unlearning and letting go as it was about acquiring new insights. As the sun began to set behind the mountains, casting a golden glow over the garden, Riku felt a deep sense of peace. He knew that his journey had just begun, and he was eager to learn more from Buddha. This was the first of many lessons, each bringing him closer to the wisdom he sought. With renewed determination, Riku decided to stay with Buddha, continuing his studies and deepening his understanding of the world and himself. The journey had brought him to this sacred place, and he was ready to embrace the teachings and experiences that lay ahead. And so, Riku's story began, a journey of discovery, learning, and transformation. He stayed with Buddha, each day bringing new lessons and insights, each moment a step closer to the enlightenment he sought. His quest for wisdom was far from over, but he had taken the first crucial step on a path that would change his life forever.